in support of his position, asking that be made part of the record without objection. So ordered. Chairman Carter, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Ranking Member and members of the Rules Committee. I'm pleased to be with you today. I urge prompt consideration of H.J.Res.136, a resolution offered by our colleague John James that provides congressional disapproval of the EPA's rule relating to multi-pollutant emission standards for model years 2027 and later light-duty and medium-duty vehicles. This is not the first time we've voted on the Biden-Harris administration's efforts to force two-thirds of Americans into cars that they do not want and cannot afford. The time is most urgent of them all. EPA's final regulation simultaneously eliminates Americans' ability to decide which vehicle best suits their lives and promotes China's dominance for our auto industry. It does this by setting emission standards at a level that prevents liquid fuels from primarily powering most new vehicles. Our country does not have the infrastructure to support such a fanciful and forced transition, and consumers are not warming to it. H.J.Res.136 is the last exit off this expressway of bad choices made by this rule. I and most of my Republican colleagues do not oppose the sale of electric vehicles in this nation. What we do have a problem with is the government co-opting this marketplace based on ideological, impractical solutions. Last year, EVs, or battery electric and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, comprised 8.4% of all new cars sold and made up around 1% of all registered vehicles on America's roads. EPA's regulations considered the creation of three potential scenarios, and no projection were electric vehicles expected to be less than 69% of new car sales, a 700% mandated market increase. Conversely, internal combustion engine vehicles would be no more than 29% of new car sales. That translates into a 69% required decrease in market availability. Setting aside this regulation's gross market manipulation, the country is not ready for this radical disruption. The average annual salary nationwide is only $59,000. In May of 2024, Edmunds.com stated that the average fully electric model with a starting MSRP of $53,000 was $17,000 more than the average for a gas-burning compact crossover. The National Association of Auto Dealers also maintained that current market incentives are not sufficient and high EV prices will price out millions of consumers. If you still need to be convinced, Cox Automotive stated, in 2024, the Cox Automotive team is expecting that the industry will fully come to terms with the fact that the average consumer has to be sold on the merits of going electric, and many won't be easily convinced. They realize EVs are not selling, and they can only offset their losses with gas-powered vehicles for so long. To illustrate, in the 3-month period ending in June, Ford lost about $44,000 on every electric vehicle it sold. Finally, allowing this regulation to continue unabated would enable China to co-opt the U.S. auto market. China currently dominates the EV industry and critical mineral supply chains, controlling some 76% of global battery cell production capacity for electric vehicles, around 75% of all lithium-ion batteries, and much of the processing and refining capacity for over half of the world's lithium, cobalt, and graphite. Plus, China's major auto companies are already well established in Mexico for sales in the U.S., with plans to continue investing. Our security, our public health, and our welfare are best served without this regulation, and I urge H.J.Res.136 consideration.
Gentlemen,